What's up guys, Houndish here. Today we're jumping in with a news video, this one related to Bungie, more broadly actually. But yes, it includes Marathon because Bungie have just posted the release date for the game, finally. This is an interesting one, I guess, not the way that Bungie had planned to do it, because earlier on in the day, I think it was actually in the middle of the night, there was a leak on Xbox which was showing a trailer for Marathon that actually had the release date for it. In the hours that followed, naturally, all those videos got took down, although it has kind of forced Bungie's hand to actually make the announcement, and Marathon will be dropping on March 5th, 2026. So probably a bit earlier in March than we anticipated, especially from the Destiny side, because of course, we're also getting the Shadow and Order update on the same week as that release date. So Shadow and Order for Destiny drops on the 3rd of March, and then Marathon itself comes out on the 5th, which makes it a Thursday release date for the game, which is interesting. And on the Bungie side in general, or more the Destiny side, should we say, this will probably surprise players because you wouldn't have necessarily expected Bungie to drop their new IP on the same day as an update for one of their existing games. Although we did know that March was the likely release date for Marathon because Bungie wanted as much time as possible, given that they actually delayed the game. Yet, Sony wanted the game to drop before the end of the financial year 2025, which basically means it has to be by March. So there we go, March 5th is when we can finally play Marathon if we're jumping into the full game. Pre-orders for Marathon are now also live, as well as all of the kind of details about bonuses and stuff like that. It actually includes Destiny 2, so as we can see right here, celebrate Marathon the game in Destiny 2 with the new Waiting for Exfil emote, Silkworm Weave shader, and a modern Mida Multitool exotic weapon ornament from Eververse, which will be available to all players. Apparently, that will actually become available tomorrow on the 20th of January in the Eververse store, so I'll keep you posted with that if you're interested in grabbing those items. But yeah, pre-orders, bonuses, and all of that kind of stuff are linked below if you want to see it. And let us know your thoughts on getting Marathon items in Destiny 2 as well. Not really surprising. Bungie have confirmed that there will be an open playtest, which will be the very first one players have actually been able to dive into without having to be selected through, you know, the kind of early alpha process and all of that kind of stuff. So while the release date will be very important, so will this open beta weekend, right? Because when we look back to the initial announcement for Marathon, and particularly the alpha, they lifted the NDA on that alpha. And there was very mixed feedback. I would say it skewed largely negative, at least from the Destiny side of players, right? And there was more kind of intrigue, I suppose, from folks who play other extraction shooters, Tarkov, things like that. Although there was still a lot of criticisms about features that Marathon didn't have, as well as the core gameplay loop. So ultimately what I'm saying is that we'll revisit that moment in some respects, but now with the updated version of Marathon that Bungie have worked on over the last year. And so that in itself will be a very big moment. In terms of why Bungie are dropping this on the same week as a Destiny update, I mean, let's not blow it out of proportion. This will be a mid-season update for Destiny, so essentially the equivalent of Ash and Iron. Those of us who played it will be familiar. Of course, we hope it will be better than that on the Destiny side, but while it's not a major expansion release for Destiny or something like that, it still seems a little bit strange that Bungie have chosen to go on the exact same week. I can't really speak to precisely why that is. Maybe we could speculate. I guess either it has no meaning whatsoever, Bungie just didn't really think about it, and they chose March 5th because some reason that we don't know. Maybe it's for engagement purposes, you know, maybe Bungie see it as a way to get a lot of players playing both of their IPs at the same time. Or we could speculate about more crazy things, like maybe Bungie are trying to distract the Destiny crowd, leave them in the Destiny bubble, in the hopes that Marathon will, I don't know, perform really well in different gaming communities, which of course is possible, but yeah, it's a little bit hard to get your head around. And some folks might say maybe it's because Bungie just don't see the Destiny crowd really being a big part of the Marathon player base. You'll have to give me your thoughts on that bit down below. Nonetheless, that's the news. I know not a lot of folks are thrilled when I post Marathon content, but if you empathize with me for just a moment, it's really difficult right now to speak about Destiny because Bungie are being very quiet. They're not really giving us information about the roadmap. They're not talking about the live game as it stands right now in any particular detail. And that sort of leaves us in a bit of a drought with regards to Destiny. And then on the other side, we've got all this Marathon stuff going on. And on a personal level, I'm sort of willing to give Marathon a fair shot and to cover some of the, you know, vital things about the game, such as the launch date, the stuff we're discussing today. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be shoving Marathon content onto the channel consistently. It will really be based on how it actually performs. And I understand some of the frustrations around Bungie, Marathon, how Bungie are handling Destiny, but at the same time, for the moment, this ride isn't over, and the interaction between Marathon and Destiny is going to be a significant one. So, of course, if Marathon performs really well, that will have implications on Destiny, and the same can be said if Marathon struggles to perform really well. So I feel like the odd news update here and there, at least on the road to launch and to see how this thing actually ships, I guess. In case you missed it, Bungie speak about some build crafting in Marathon here, so a couple of highlights if you want to check it out. But otherwise, share your thoughts on the release date, the timing in relation to Destiny content, and where you think Bungie are at in general. Any thoughts on Marathon are of course welcomed too. Otherwise though, cheers for watching, and I'll catch you all very soon.
Sometimes you just want to take a breather after a bunch of runs and just kind of go on a run to just see what happens. And Rook is really fun for that.
Picking Rook automatically opts you into queuing in solo. You're able to enter into a match in progress, and you're given a starting kit. You're not allowed to bring anything in. That's almost to your advantage because you risk nothing, and anything you take out is yours to keep.
Instead of focusing on like progression and questing and things of that sort, it's a mode where we make it easy for you to just kind of drop into a match that's in progress and run about and try to scavenge as much as possible and get out with it so that you can populate your vault a little bit more for future runs.
Rook has a tactical ability that lets it blend in with UESC forces. So you activate it, a little mask appears over your face, and you are not perceived by the UESC as hostile. This lets you kind of get in, grab a little bit of loot, and then bail.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed about Rook is the added tension. Midway through a session, even though you've known like a few crews got taken out, or maybe you've taken out crews yourself, you don't know how many new players get injected through Rook.
Ultimately, Rook is a morality test, so you have a couple of options when you see a Rook. Either you're a decent person and you drop them a piece of loot and let them be on their merry way, or you are a monster and you blast them in the face. And I'm not going to say which one I am. I blasted a lot of Rooks. Figuring out what you want for your build that is unique, and you do that across cores, you do that across implants, you do that across weapon mods. Cores are powerful standalone perks that can be used in combination with each other to shift the gameplay style of your runner kit. We also want to make sure that there are interesting combinations of things that work together, but they have hooks that go out into the other systems, so you can create this like crazy Rube Goldberg machine.
Depending on your playstyle, if you're like someone who hangs back and likes to snipe, you're someone who likes close quarters combat and you're gonna rush in, you're gonna wanna cater the items that you're finding differently.
The idea there is like, have a broad spectrum that everyone can kind of find a little bit of a home to, and then we're gonna build on top of that.
Marathon is a game that is all about finding the best stuff on the map, so we felt like we needed to have a shell that was sort of built for the loot goblin fantasy. That is Thief to a T. Thief's trade ability is X-ray visor, where you flip down your visor, you can see containers through walls, you can see enemies that are within line of sight.
Their prime is a pickpocket drone, where they deploy this like elegant origami mechanicalized butterfly. It has like a mechanical whip that it can send out, and that knocks loot out of both players and AI, and then it can suck that loot back up with the same whip. Or you can use it for recon. You can fly around, you can ping, those pings are shared to your squad.
The Thief Shell also has a built-in grappling device that is embedded right in the forearm. You shoot it on a dart. Mid-flight, it unfolds into this propeller that pulls you along, and you can swing away to safety.
The recharge rate for their grapple and their base handling and stats will go up as you fill the backpack. So the idea is to become a loot goblin, right? Steal as much as you can and get out.